Hello and welcome to this brief information session about the required Applied Practice Experience, or APE, at GPH. I am Dr. Karen Faber, Director of Public Health Practice at GPH, and I will guide you through a few topics in this session, including a brief introduction of the Office of Public Health Practice, suggestions for preparing and searching for appropriate APE, completing the Mandatory Practice Learning Contract, or PLC, and a final overview of all APE requirements. Let's start with a brief introduction to the Office of Public Health Practice, or the Practice Office at GPH. Our office is small but mighty. As I mentioned before, I am the Director of Public Health Practice, and Mr. Jerome Valoria is a program administrator in the office and can assist you with many of your questions about the APE, including the mandatory PLC. Included here is our website, as well as our email address where you can send your questions. We do ask that you allow 1 to 2 business days for a response to your inquiries. As an office, we're here to guide you around your internship, or again, what we call the APE. We are here to be mentors and hold you accountable so that when you leave this program, you are properly prepared for the work of an applied public health practitioner. So there is some paperwork and there are deadlines, and we are here to hold you accountable to that. But we're also here to be a liaison between you and your site or organization where you will complete your work. And to link you with internship sites is a warm handoff. However, we can intervene if necessary to talk to a preceptor if you feel that you're not being treated fairly or equitably. Finally, you will take coursework in applied practice and integrated learning to culminate the experience. In these courses, you'll answer the questions: what does it mean that you spent time in the field? And what does it mean to your overall MPH career? So to review, the practice office offers technical assistance and accountability around the practice requirement. We offer mentorship, guidance, and support to all students, and we work closely with internal stakeholders, our external partners, and sites and national organizations to listen and learn from our peers. The purpose of APE is to help you engage in activities that align with your career goals and helps you build skills to add to your public health toolkit. This is really where the rubber meets the road. You, the student, are the rubber, and/or you are the road as students going into the field. Another way to think about this is the intersection of theory, action, and practice, known as praxis. The APE allows you to take your passion and interest in public health and apply your technical and power skills, formerly known as soft skills, in a real-world setting. So the APE is really about putting data to action or putting theory to practice. And that's what we do in the practice office and at GPH. And that's what you'll be doing with your internship. The APE is not unique to GPH, but is a national requirement, and everyone who has ever received an MPH has completed a practice experience. You will pursue your APE at the halfway point of your academic process. That is, once you complete 21 to 23 credits, giving you the opportunity to gain the required skills and knowledge that are needed to be successful in your work. This means you will complete the APE after the first 2 semesters of your academic journey. For students admitted in the fall, this means you'll begin in the summer between your first and second year if you are a full-time student. For students admitted in the spring, this means you'll begin in the winter semester or January session between your first and second year if you are a full-time student. If you are a part-time student, you must strategize with your faculty advisor to determine when you should complete the APE. You may also consult with the practice office to make this determination. At GPH, students are expected to complete at least 180 hours to fulfill their APE. This allows you to have a rich and robust experience while also leaving time for coursework, other jobs, additional internships, and everything else that life brings. And we found that even in the pandemic, GPH students have been able to achieve this. Many other schools do have a 300 to 400 hour requirement, which is essentially working full time in the summer. So the 180-hour requirement is middle of the road. If you decide to start in the summer, you may pursue your required hours full-time or part-time. It is also acceptable for you to extend the completion of your internship hours into the fall semester. As you begin to prepare for your APE, think about the skills you want to gain and the activities in which you'd like to be engaged. Are you interested in program evaluation, program planning, policy development, policy evaluation, data analysis with a specific program, improving your writing skills, your leadership skills, or your manuscript and grant writing skills? Think about the types of organizations you'd like to work in. Do you want to be at a hospital? Do you want to be at a nonprofit organization? Or do you want to be in government? Think about the kind of mentorship you want from your preceptor. Do you want a preceptor that is very hands-on and you meet with several times a week? Or do you fear micromanaging? Are you fine with having a hands-off approach and maybe just see your preceptor to sign paperwork at the beginning and at the end of your internship, or something in between? You need to know these things about yourself, especially as you get to know your preceptor. And then think about the geographic reach of the organization. Do you prefer one that works only locally in one city or town? Is that New York City, or is it another city? Or are you interested in an organization that operates on a state, national level, or internationally? To further prepare for your APE, we encourage you to download your unofficial transcript just to become familiar again with the type or the kinds of classes you took. Explore the course objectives again and reflect on what you learned. Think about how you might apply these skills to your internship. Remember the Wasserman Center. Make it your priority, if you haven't already done so, to visit the resources available there. They can help you update your resume and your cover letter, as well as help you brush up on your interview skills and job negotiation skills. Miriam Miller is our most frequent contact, but there's other qualified staff at Wasserman. Next, get to know your academic advisors or your faculty advisors. If you don't know who that is, we can help you figure it out. If you haven't met them or even seen them since you started at GPH, that's okay too. Now is a good time to schedule office hours so that you get to know them and they can get to know your interests. This is important because in addition to the resources that the practice office will provide you, many of our faculty are well connected locally, nationally, and internationally, and you as a student want to tap in and leverage those resources and those connections. This also means finding mentors, and you should have more than one. Find someone to whom you can ask the difficult questions. Sometimes that mentor is the graduate student who's more advanced than you. So look for the person who is willing to admit their defeats, but will also demystify the process for you. You are all graduate students enrolled in a professional degree program, and you are responsible for securing your own practice experience while leveraging the resources and networks that this program affords you. Like most schools, we do not individually place or match students, especially with over 500 of you this year. Your APE can be completed at governmental, non-governmental, nonprofit, or for-profit, industry, and other related settings in the United States and or abroad. This requirement ensures you're doing robust work at a graduate student level, and your site supervisor is expected to have a strong foundation in public health. These are a few logos of some sites where students have completed their internship hours. But as you already know, public health is broad. So there are many types of organizations where you can intern, ranging from large nonprofits like the American Heart Association, or smaller grassroots or community-based nonprofits like New York City's Gay Men's Health Crisis Organization. Most of our students have completed internships at a number of hospitals and clinics in New York City and remotely in other locations. There are also think tanks, research agencies that are not academic, like the Urban Institute or the Children's Defense Fund. There are a lot of think tanks in the Washington, D.C. area, but there are other available entities located nationally and internationally. There are also consulting firms. A number of GPH students completed hours at these institutions. A lot of health policy and health management students in particular complete their work with consulting firms, but students in other concentrations have successfully interned with these same firms. Biopharmaceutical companies are also ideal places, particularly now in light of the pandemic. And then finally, at GPH, our academic departments, centers, and labs are popular locations for APE. Let's spend some time discussing where and how to search for an APE. Preferably, we'd like you to find a site that is outside of GPH so that you're getting some variety on your resume and you're amplifying the GPH part of your resume. So here are some additional suggestions for finding a placement. First, read your emails. This is very important. Do not miss messages containing opportunities for internships, jobs, and fellowships. Try to at least weekly check out the public health post that is sent out every Friday. This is a newsletter carefully curated by the Office of Student Affairs. Opportunities for internships and jobs and other professional development opportunities are put in the post, so look for it every Friday. At the practice office, we come across announcements from organizations seeking interns, and we broadcast those opportunities via Emma, the emailing system here at NYU GPH. So please be sure that your email information is up to date with the GPH registrar and your academic department. GPH department chairs and program directors run labs and initiatives here at the school, and they often have positions that can be used for APE. Again, read your emails for and peruse for announcements about these opportunities. And then finally, wherever possible, schedule informational interviews with organizations you're interested in. And the way to do that is, of course, to offer your name and school and concentration. But you also want to explain succinctly why you're drawn to or interested in their organization. That means you need to know something about their mission and their values and how it ties to your interests. Be prepared to discuss what you hope to gain and what you hope to contribute during the internship. And when you secure the interview, reiterate the previous bullets, but also have a discussion about the number of internship hours required, potential individuals at the organization who might serve as a preceptor, and propose ideal products that would be delivered at the end of the internship, something that would benefit the organization. Now, these are a sampling of websites that often list available internships. Bookmark them and peruse them often, especially now that you're preparing to complete your internship soon. And then as you're searching, you shouldn't just use internship as your only search word. A lot of opportunities that you're interested in and eligible for might be called something different. So they might be looking for research analysts or a policy consultant or an evaluator statistician or a community health educator. So use a mix of terms as you're searching. Consider the type of work you want to do and what you want to align yourself with. So let's transition to talking about the documents needed to start your internship. So you've gotten an offer for a placement and you've established a start date with the organization. So what's next? Well, what's next is paperwork, which includes a practice learning contract or PLC. The PLC is an agreement between you and your preceptor at the internship site. You can find this form on the GPH Practice Office website. In the document, you'll identify the organization, your preceptor and their credentials, and a summary of what your internship work will entail. You will also outline or map the competencies you've selected with proposed deliverables or products that will be delivered as a result of your work. There are two specific things to remember. Number one, we at the practice office will schedule PLC workshops and competency workshops for those who have secured an internship, but also for those who are still searching and need guidance on how to approach these important documents. So please stay tuned for those announcements. A completed PLC must be signed by you, the student, the preceptor, and the GPH faculty mentor or advisor. The PLC must be reviewed and approved by the practice office before any hours are counted toward the 180-hour requirement. Hours will not be counted retroactively. Upload the completed PLC and your preceptor's CV or resume to the online portal, also located on the practice office website. And upon approval of your PLC by the practice office, you will receive the permission code to register for the APE or Thesis 1 course. So let's review. Here is a checklist of requirements for APE. First, you'll secure an internship and complete the PLC during the transition period to your second year in the MPH program. May 15 is the deadline if you wish to begin your internship hours during the summer. You can take APE or thesis if it's offered concurrently. If not, you must take APE or thesis in the fall. August 1 is the deadline if you wish to begin your internship hours during the fall semester, and then you will take APE or Thesis 1 concurrently. February 1 is the deadline if you wish to begin your internship hours during the spring semester, and then you will take APE or Thesis 1 concurrently. In the APE course, you will also complete a pre-skills assessment survey of where you are before you start your internship. You will complete progress reports, one at the midpoint of your internship at about the 90-hour mark, and one at the end, which will be a reflection of what you did. The self-evaluation that you must complete will assess your time at the internship and the skills you gained and what you felt were the strengths of the internship site. And then finally, the preceptor evaluation will have the opportunity to give us feedback on your strengths and the skills and talents you brought to their site. The time you spend at the internship will be reflected in the 2 deliverables or products that will result from your hard work. These products must be negotiated with your preceptor, and they must be reflected in the PLC. And then finally, in the spring semester, or depending on when you take APE or thesis, you will take a second practice course called ILE or thesis. So let's discuss some final information. First, the practice office sponsors the Practice Scholar Award to offset the costs associated with having an unpaid internship. This involves a competitive application process to support 10 students during their APE. You may apply for this award if you have secured an unpaid internship and have a minimum 3.5 GPA. Students may apply between mid-April and mid-May, and notifications of awards will be announced by June 1st. And then finally, let's park here to briefly discuss international students. The question that we get very often is, what does this mean in terms of being able to work somewhere? Will I get CPT, CPT is curricular practical training. So for students with an F1 visa, we have arranged with the Office of Global Services for students to be allowed up to 2 CPT requests for their internships, one in the summer and one in the fall. What this means is you are able to work in the summer full-time, which is 35 to 40 hours per week. In the fall, you can work 20 hours per week, which is part-time. CPT will not be required if you are working within NYU. Additionally, CPT cannot be used solely to facilitate employment that is not related at all to your degree, because that does not work with the F1 visa rules. For students on a J1 visa or other visas that are not student-specific, you must work with the Office of Global Services to confirm the rules specific to your case. If you have any questions or concerns about CPT, feel free to contact the practice office or the Office of Student Affairs, or take a look at the website link that is posted here. That will conclude this information session. If you have any questions about the information presented here, please contact the practice office at the email listed. Thank you for watching.